This is Debbie Jordan, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm going to show you just a little bit of work on how to do dry brushing and glazing. This is in conjunction with Painting World magazine, and they have a blog that comes out, I think it's bi-monthly. This is the project that we are going to do. I believe it's summer of 2025. And I just wanted to give you the information. Now, underneath this video, you're going to see the link for that and also the link for my Facebook page. Would you please take a look at our Facebook page, take a look at the blog. You can go to paintingmagazine.com and get to the blog there. The first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to do some dry brushing. This is the project. When you go to the blog, you have step-by-step instructions and step-by-step photographs. So we're going to dry brush. So there are a lot of different types of dry brushes. I have my favorites, and I pretty much like any brush that you give me. Here are the ones that I prefer, a dome brush. The two that I have, this is my favorite. This is Lynn Andrews number 3014 Stippler. It has a dome end on it, and you can see I've used it a lot. You can use this to the side or straight up and down. This is newer. This is Chris Hoey's from Cover Distributing, Chris's Diverse Dry Brush Series 929. It does come in lots of different sizes. And so this one is also a dome shape, but it's a little bit more pointed on the end of that dome. So you can get larger areas and smaller areas to work. So those are my two favorites. I also love the brushes that are half moon shape. And in that vein, these are moon scrubbers from Sharp Brushes. They are a thinner brush. You can see that they have various degrees of angle cuts at the ends. You would load both sides and you would work down and push and pull. Push down, lift up. So those are really good brushes. Those are the ones that are a little bit more stiff. The other one that I have like that, I'm afraid, oh, and here's all the moon scrubbers, all the different sizes that you can get. They are absolutely wonderful if you like those types of brushes. They are the ones that are the most stiff. This is from Dynasty. This is a Mezzaluna, and this is a size large. So there's a small, medium, large. A little bit longer bristles, still the same graduated cut on the end, but they are not quite as strong as the Moon Scrubber. So you get a little bit more push on those to work. And those are the different brushes that we're going to be using. Dry brushing is nothing more than using a brush that is dry. You have not wet it to the beginning, and you are using very little paint. Very similar to what we've always done is stenciling. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of dry brushing that you can see. So if you'll notice, the original was actually painted on a piece of masonite. I really like to work on masonite as opposed to a canvas because I like the hardness and the smoothness of it, especially if I'm going to be doing dry brushing, stippling, that sort of thing. You'll notice in your instructions that your base coat is Deco Art Americana Periwinkle Blue. It is number DA366. So what we're going to do is we're going to start in the upper area here in our sky, and you can see that it's darker. It starts slowly graduating down to color. And you have all of these colors that you're going to put in dry brushing. The only thing that is actually painted with a stroke, typical decorative painting, is the girl and those balloons. Everything else is dry brushed or stippled on with a Deerfoot brush. We are going to dry brush with Deco Art Twilight DA425. And I'll try and use a little bit of each of those brushes so you can see them. So this is my favorite brush. Well, again, this is Lynn Andrews 3014 Stippler. I believe it comes in different sizes, but because I'm working in a large area, I'm using her number 8. To load a dry brush, you want to load the brush completely on the end, but not really super wet. Tap off a good bit of it before you go to your paper towel. Now I'm just going to wipe that brush off, and I'm wiping it on all the sides and on the top. So just to reiterate what we have just done, I have loaded my brush by going here and here, wiped off most of it. Then I'm cleaning off on all the sides because it is a dome brush, and you can see you get little areas that are heavy and some that are light. And then I'm coming in and cleaning off that dome as well. When you have just a little paint left, that's what you're doing. Very similar to what you did in stenciling. I'm just going to start in this corner, and I'm starting at not quite a 45-degree angle, and I have my finger down, and that's helping me keep the point of that brush off. And I'm just starting to scrumble in, just lightly, bringing that in. Once I'm fairly confident, I am just letting that paint move. Look how pretty that is. So the top area here is you're not going to get a really, because of how much area we've got, we're not putting shines and highlights on fruits and flowers right now. We're filling an entire sky. And you can see you've got a little bit of different areas here. Look, see, I pushed my, I had a spot of dark color come out. That's okay. I'm just going to try and work it out. And notice if you push too hard on one spot, that's what you're going to get. So it is consistently moving. I'm not worried about those. We'll work those out. This, if you'll notice, on your pattern, I had marked out that this is the darkest area. This is a medium value blue, and then you've got your lavenders and your orange sunset, etc. So I am just coming in here right now and working in. I've got the area there that is going to be my red, orange, and yellow. So I'm just going to fill this in right now. But this goes fairly quickly. And you'll notice that I have not reloaded my brush as it starts to where I have used most of my paint. Then I am then going to be able to come up on my point. And I switch to my right hand. I know you guys aren't used to seeing people left-handed. Okay, time to reload. So picked up a small amount, wiping off. And so there, I'm just going back in next to it. Bringing in the sky color. Now it's going to take several coats. And you can actually come back to your paper towel and grab up some of that paint that you have knocked off when you were trying to get your brush loaded correctly. 45-degree angle gives you a really pretty blend from your brush. And something else I wanted to show you, if you were doing a flower or something, you would start in the middle of your flower area, push a little harder, and then gradually what I like to do is I put my finger down and I lift my hand. I use my finger to lift my hand up so that I can get lighter and lighter and lighter as I go. So matching that and pulling it out, matching that and pulling it out. Another thing you can do is I like to at times put my hand underneath, my other hand underneath. So I will have this hand down, put this hand on top, and I will start where my center highlight would be. I'm going to rub that 2 or 3 times. Now I'm just going to lift my fingers, my bottom fingers up, lift my hand up, and give it a little bit less pressure, and I work that out. So I'm going to have several layers on this sky, so I'm not concerned about what I'm doing here, showing you this, and you can see that it's lightly changing as I go out. I like to work in a circular area, and obviously you would use a much smaller brush. You can come back in and change that. So I'm going to cut my video off here for just a second, get this area in, and then be right back with you. Okay, so I've got that first layer down, and I'm going to switch to my Chris Hoey brushes. These are her Chris's Diverse Dry Brush Series 929. I'm picking up a number 12 because I am working in a large area. And you look, that is one coat. You can see how splotchy it is, but I wanted that. I don't want this. If I wanted a straight color, I would have just base coated it down. So Chris's brushes work pretty much the same way. I'm just going to start from this corner. I'm adding more color, sort of smoothing everything out. And I am down to the area where we are going to start fading out. So obviously I would keep adding blue here. And don't worry, we're going to glaze this a little later. But I just want to be sure that I have a nice area of color here. So I am continuously loading my brush. Remember, you load the entire end of the brush. That's how much I put on there. And then when I wipe it off, I make sure I wipe all sides and the tip so that I don't have any splotching going on. See that splotch right there? That's because I didn't do a good job of cleaning that off. So now we're going to start fading this down into this area according to our pattern. The dark area was right through here, and then it's slowly going to be graduating down until it is the light color. So we're just going to start fading down. This is the background color. Then we're going to pull up with some white, some different colors in the background. They're all done the same way. So I'm just going to fade down. And if you don't get a good fade, it's kind of hard to see that fade. If you don't get a good fade, it's okay. In fact, let me make one that's not a good fade. So I've come down here and all of a sudden I was doing great. I was doing great. And then I got heavy-handed. I started thinking about things that I shouldn't have been thinking. I should have been painting. The less paint you have on here, the more you can put, the more pressure you can put on that brush. Can't do this whole thing. I don't want you guys to have to sit here and watch me all day. So now you can see I'm coming down to the area where I would notice that my lavender is going to come in. So I've got light, light pressure, light work. I'm up on the chisel because I have so little paint in there. Now look, that is very pretty, but I feel like, and let's make it obvious, I feel like that spot there is not going to work. All I would do is I would do one of two things, and I will try them both. Our base coat is periwinkle. I would just grab a touch of periwinkle and I would use that in the brush that is already dirty with my dark color, with my twilight, and I would lightly, ever so lightly, lighten that with the background color. Same thing down here. If I'm not getting the fade I want, I'd come back over it with a very light coat. And as I'm coming up to where the darkness would be, I would change my pressure. On the very end, you can see this is where I have it marked off where the lavender is. I would want to put a little bit of the titanium white there just to do that. So you can use titanium white and the periwinkle, or you can just use your dirty brush keep clean. You would add the white, wipe it off, grab a touch more of white. This is how, if you're painting in oils, you clean your brushes. So you would load it again in the white, clean it off until you get a nice lighter white color. You don't want pure white. That won't work. Cleaning that brush off. And now I have got a lighter value. See that popping off there? Moving it into that area. Okay, so now back to the twilight where our we would want to move a little bit of the twilight into the area that we have our fireworks that are going off. You don't want to start and stop. So I'm just going to put a little bit. You would have done the whole sky. I'm not going to have you sit here and watch me paint this whole sky, but I'm just going along the edges here so you can see. But on yours and on the photographs you see on the blog, you will see step by step what I've done. So that's all it is. I'm fading it in to where that area will be. That area would be painted red. So you're going to get, the red is going to be transparent. So you're going to get a nice purple glow right there. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to load that in. Slowly fade it in. I wouldn't let it go as far as where we're going to start the, this large area here is where we would be doing the orange. So I have faded into where I would put the next color. So that's all there is to dry brushing. You saw the two round dome brushes. This is the Mezzaluna. So let's put a little bit more of the sky in with the Mezzaluna to load the Mezzaluna and the Sharp moon scrubbers. You would load them front and back. And I'm sure other people tell you other things, but I feel that you've got to load the whole brush or else you'll have areas that are not quite blended on your brush. You're going to wipe it off front, back, side, side, and top. See what you've got. So I'm just going to come back in here and add, extend this down. And you can see it, this one, all you do is you take your pressure off. And to take your pressure off, you want to have your, I have a finger underneath and I'm lifting that finger that is underneath and so I'm lifting with this finger, and pushing with this finger so that it's like a fulcrum, it just pulls. And I am fading it off. I do like these mezzalunas. They are very, very easy to work with in small areas. I know they have, because I have a large, so obviously there's a medium and a small. But I do like these. If you are working a white on top of a dark color, then it's absolutely pretty. So you probably can't see what I've got very well. Take a smaller, I had one of the larger moon scrubbers out, but let's get this one. And before you use them, when you get them, wash them and put them on the counter and let them dry. Don't try and use them with the sizing in them. They don't have a lot. But just in case, I load, and this is a much firmer brush, so it takes a little bit more paint to load it. I never load all the way to the ferrule. As I work, it does get down in there. Wipe off, and because it's stiffer, wipe your sides, wipe your top. So here I'm adding more color. And this one doesn't take quite as much pressure to begin with. And you can come out with some really, really nice light scrubbing. Because of the firmness of the bristles, you do get a little bit smoother look. So that's all we're going to do for that. Once again, I'll be right back. Let me get a little bit more done here, and then I'll show you what we do for glazing. That is the last thing that we'll do when we finish our project. So what I've done is I have taken the titanium white, the snow white, and filled in the area that I am going to be using where my fireworks are exploding. Because there is that blue back there, and we are working with transparent colors as we are moving through our dry brushing, I wanted to put white back there to sort of kill off that blue. And you can see I'm fading it out into this area here. I faded in with the darker blue. Now I'm fading out. I want that little area around it that is darker. If you'll notice in you're doing that. So that would be the next step that you would do. You would then come in with your colors, and I'll do just a little to show you. So this is golden yellow that we are going from the brightest, most intense, which is yellow, to orange to red. And the reason the orange is in the middle is because when you mix red and yellow, you get orange. So I'm putting an area here in orange, I mean in yellow, putting an orange and then putting a red on the outside. Your pattern shows that very, very well. This is the center of explosion. It goes out a little bit, becomes a little more orange, and then goes out and becomes red. Then, of course, you have all things on top of that. I will not paint the entire thing. It's super, super easy. I have switched to the Mezzaluna because I like this flatness that I'm using to do this. And I'm being sloppy because there's a lot that goes on top of it. But I'm just putting my orange there. I just want these colors down enough for you to be able to see how to glaze. The orange that I chose to use is a beautiful color. It's called Orange Flame DA315. Just tiny bits of this color. I did not clean my yellow brush. I wiped it out. I grabbed the orange, made sure I had a fairly clean brush. I'm starting away from the yellow so that I can fade into it. So my darker area is here. And I'm going to fade out to where the red would be. Doing this very, very quickly. Please, when you are doing yours, be a little bit better than I am today. See that pretty color that comes when you mix them together? Right there when they touch each other. This orange is very, very transparent. So I'm getting it fairly strong. Then fading out. The last color that I chose to use is Red Alert, another favorite of mine. Red Alert Deco Art Americana DA301. Did not clean my brush out, just wiped out all of the orange, loaded in red, pretty heavy, knocked everything off the front, back, side, and top, starting off of the orange a little bit and working into it. And as you can see, it does get dull when you put it on this. It looks so dull. That's because of the blue shining through. I'm just going to use a little bit extra paint. And I'm coming out when it touches that blue on the outside there, it turns into a really, really pretty purple. Fade it out into the blue. Please do a little bit neater than me. And remember, there are all sorts of things that are going to go on top of this. The reds, because of the pigment that is used. There is nothing wrong with them, but they do tend to separate. So you do want to make sure you always shake your reds really, really well every time you use them. It's just the pigment itself is a little heavy, but there's nothing wrong. It's an absolutely beautiful color made by an absolutely first class paint company. Just getting these on so we can do some glazing. So before you glaze, you would have finished at least each area. You would have finished your sky all the way to the point to where you are here. You would have done your sky down in here. You would have done your purples. It's shown on your pattern what goes where. And skies are subjective. And you can see here this little dark spot, how much better that paint holds over the white. So as I mentioned, we are going to glaze. You glaze the same color over your dry brushing. This is a brush that I have had a while. I know they still make them. It's by Liquitex. It's Kolinsky Plus. It's an oval wash number 689, it looks like. Any soft brush, I prefer a filbert shape, but any soft brush will do. And what we're going to do is we're going to get a nice wet brush, so dip it in, take just a little bit of the water off of it, and I'm going to dip in my blue. So I'm going to side load that brush from about the top down the side. So you can see it's a pretty big load. I'm just going to come over as if I were preparing a float. I'm not pushing super hard, but I want that to come across so that I have a darker top and bottom on that brush. So you can see it's just a nice washy where we brought the paint across. Now all we're going to do is bring this starting at the top and work it down. All of a sudden, and we don't want to do the whole sky. What we're doing is we're darkening where we need to darken. When I use that brush, I'm just loading more paint the same way. When I use that brush, you know that you flip your brush when you use it. So you would push down and pull, flip back and blend. So let's see. So I would go push down and I've got all of my weight on this side of the brush, this side. And it dropped that big thing. Now I'm going to pull back and pull down. I'm not worried about the edges of that. So I'm going to drop my brush, put that paint down. It's almost like a float. Put the pressure on this side, and pull down. You can actually pat it. If you need to, you can use a mop and mop it down. But I'm just adding darkness to the top of the sky only. And when that dries, that's going to be a very pretty color. You can add black up in here. After you've done that, you can add a little black to that twilight if you want to. But it usually takes me, and you can work wet on wet. It usually takes me at least 2 washes before it's dark enough. You can add a little black. I didn't bring any black in here with me. If it push came to shove, I would just throw some red in it and make it a darker purple up there. So I'm not adding it as I go down to where the sky is lightening. The same thing, you put the base color is also your wash color. let's go ahead and I'm going to do just the red for you right now. So the outer ring of our explosion in the sky, not quite as much paint. So I load down the side and to the top. Just a nice triangle area. If it's not washy, and this is washy, push down on your brush, get a little bit more of that wash going. And I'm going to start on the edges here. And look how much prettier that is. So I'm going to jiggle that a little bit on the edges. I don't want it to be straight. And I am just putting that paint and making it gradate into the side. It's okay if you get down into that orange because we'll put the orange on top. Kind of a strange looking thing, but once you get done, this is what you do. If you're uncomfortable, use a smaller brush and just work a little harder. Pat if you need to, use a mop if you need to, then come back in with your orange. I can't do that quite yet because it's wet, but you would load into your orange. And being on paper is not the easiest thing to show you. Look how the orange is, and I'm just wiggling that orange, washing that orange. Then obviously at the end, I would put the yellow in. I'm just moving it out a little bit. So there you go. Those are the two things that you'll be doing to paint. The little girl and the balloons and all, she is standing, her light source is in front of her. So you've got a little bit of brightness here because the light is coming from the fireworks. It hits her arm, it hits there, it hits there, it hits the balloons, it hits her side, but she is in shadow. The darkness is behind her. So when I painted her, and you will see on your pattern packet, that was a white shirt. I washed everything here in black. I washed her in black. I washed the balloons in black. I washed black down through here, along the bottoms of these bushes that you'll put in. And obviously this was all just dry brushed in with yellows and oranges, and I washed red over it. So there you go. If you have any questions on your blog post, there is a way to contact me. I also put down my brand new Facebook page. I don't really have a website yet because I am brand new to teaching you guys, putting out patterns and things like that. So go to my Facebook. You can contact me there. You can contact me through the email that is in the blog. And I hope you enjoy painting the 4th of July.